Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
Apparently, I have messed up the Rumble thing on here. I didn't get all that set up correctly, so let's wait till that boots up real quick. Is it? Is that gonna go? Yeah, here we go. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a good little bit of information to go over tonight. Of course, I messed up, apparently, like I always do, with the intros and everything like that. Well, it is what it is. But we got some good little information to go over tonight. Apparently, Russia is saying that they're going to launch a nuclear strike on the US if we show any aggression at all. We also got Joe Biden, the first lady, has come down with COVID, and Joe Biden's being tested regularly for it, wearing a mask, and all seems just a little bit too suspicious, seeing as how we're coming up on election season. That's really going on right now. We also got Bill Maher pushing a conspiracy theory, a baseless conspiracy theory. I mean, that's how they use it. Pretty much it's just straight up lie. We also have Texas law shooting down, the Supreme Court shooting down a Texas law that says you need age verification for adult content. Somehow that goes against the First Amendment. We'll take a look at that as well. And a movie coming up is trying to normalize fan of the playground behavior in a really, really weird way. And it's not really, well, you just have to see exactly. I'm not going to give too much away with it right now, but of course, the Voice of the People YouTube channel took a hit, apparently because in the Republican debate, they were talking about the vaccine. Apparently, my channel took a hit for medical misinformation because they talked about it on the debate. I don't know. It's whatever with YouTube, really. I'm just fed up with YouTube altogether. But yeah, that's what's going on with that here. We will take a look at all that information, and we got some things to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. So why don't we just go ahead and jump into it real quick? I mean, what's it gonna hurt? Russian state TV threatens nuclear strike on U.S. Get that out of here. Kremlin propagandist has issued the latest nuclear threat against the West regarding the war in Ukraine, warning that the U.S. could be in danger of a Russian missile strike. Igor Korchenko, editor of the newspaper National Defense, and a regular guest on the Russia One channel, where guests have repeatedly called for strikes against Ukraine's allies, took exception to criticism from Russia conducting the war. Russia is being warned and threatened that if we misbehave, or if in NATO senior member for logistics Ben Hodges' opinion, We exceed what he considers to be the necessary permissible lines of use of all types of Russian weapons. He threatens us with more than just strikes on the Crimean Bridge, Korchenko said. Huh. Wonder what you mean by that. Hodges has repeatedly called for Ukraine to be provided with all the weapons it needs to retake Crimea, such as ATACMS, Army Tactical Missile Systems, which would allow long range precision strikes on the peninsula of Moscow annexed in 2014. Korchenko said that the Hodges believed that the U.S. might consider strikes on the bases of Russia's Black Sea Fleet and troops in Crimea, as well as strikes on Russian naval bases in Tartus, Syria. Korchenko believed these were not just statements of a retired hawk, but also a concerted information campaign designed to influence both U.S. and Western audience. While the U.S. is the biggest provider of military aid to Ukraine, it has taken pains to avoid direct confrontation with Russia and has made no threats of attacking the targets that Korchenko referred to. But Korchenko said there should be a discussion about what will determine the use and permissibility of tactical nuclear weapons, what goals, and what tactics we will use. The most important message we should send to the Americans is that we will not wage war with you in Europe, he said in clips subsequently posted to the X, formerly known as Twitter, by Ukrainian Internal Affairs advisor Anton Gershenko, I guess. I don't know the name. It's whatever. I probably mess it up, but it's fine. In response to your attacks on Russian military or civilian facilities, the first strike will be a preventative limited strike against targets on the territory of the United States of America, he told the anchor of 60 Minutes, Evgeny Popov. Last week, Russia announced that its Sarmat strategic missile systems, which can reach the U.S., has been put on combat duty. Attention, United States, wrote Goroshenko. Next to the video, Russian propagandists threatened the nuclear strikes on U.S. territory. I need to stop trying to read ahead in my mind while I'm talking because it never works out correctly. I just keep fumbling with words, making it look like I can't fucking read. In response to Korchenko's comments, Hodges told Newsweek that the U.S. administration was finally realizing that the likelihood of Russia using a nuclear weapon is extremely small. Russia has been threatening nuclear strikes since the beginning. I take them seriously because Russia has thousands of nuclear weapons and because they clearly don't care how many innocent people may die, he said. But I think they realize that their nukes are actually most effective when they don't use them. They see how we self-deter. Crimea is the decision terrain of this war, says Hodges of the Peninsula, which has seen a stepping up of attacks believed to be carried out by Kyiv, including the Kerch Bridge that links the occupied territory with Russia and mainland. Once Ukraine liberates Crimea, it is over. Ukraine knows that they cannot ever be safe or secure or rebuild their economy as long as Russia occupies Crimea, Hodges added. And then it ends right there. Here's one thing I do want to mention with all this here, though. All right. Number one, you remember that dude that they arrested because he leaked the war documents they said that everything about that was correct except for the death count. Like somehow the death count was wrong and that's the only thing in there that wasn't correct. Okay. Which pretty much says that Russia is actually winning the war over there. You remember how Zelensky fired missiles into another country to try to get NATO involved? And he's like, don't ask questions, don't look into this, just NATO attack. Do you remember the attack on the Nord Stream pipeline that it's now believed that Biden had a hand in? And yet, through all this aggression, through everything that we have seen, we do have actual troops on the ground. We have been giving a lot of funding to the war in Ukraine. Would it be incredibly Would it be too far to think that Russia already thinks they're at war with us? I mean, we are already at war. Let's just be honest. They just haven't admitted it yet because you need a vote in Congress to make that a thing. Well, without that, it's military police action, which is what they've used since, what was it, Vietnam? I believe that was. So you're going to sit there and tell me that they've just put into service that Satan II nuclear missile. They say they have the capabilities to strike our homeland, but everybody brings up, oh well, all the stuff that they've been using is Soviet technology. You know, they've been using that. The people are dying left and right. We're using 50-year-old ammunition to destroy them. Are we? I mean, are we seriously? Because we've been sending some really good weaponry over there that ain't 50 years old. I know full fucking well the Patriot missile system is not 50 years old. I used to work on that not too long ago. Our HIMARS is not 50 years old. If it were 50 years old, there'd be a big chance that it wouldn't work. So you're sitting there telling me that all this aggression that we've been showing to cover up Biden's crimes over there, that if NATO showed any kind of aggression towards them, that the ruthless, heartless bastard that Putin is wouldn't use those missiles on us? I kind of find that very, very hard to believe. Let's see. The beginning of our intrepid worldwide police force follows pattern U.S. government supported. It follows pattern U.S. government supported Iraq, then they made enemy from it. U.S. supported Taliban, they made enemies from them, and so on and so on. Yes. And we did create another desert storm when we left all that shit over there in Afghanistan. Oh, that was on Biden too. The Afghanistan debacle. That was on Biden too. I don't like that color. I'm going to change it while we're talking here. But I don't really believe that all this is just some blowhard dude just trying to talk. Like this is just posturing, like he ain't really ready, willing, and able to do it. Let's just be honest. If he does launch missiles, he's actually going after strategic places. There's no way he's going to bomb like rural areas. There's no way he's going after civilians. He's going after military targets. He's going after armories. He's going after bases. Because that's how you put a hamper on us. We're already weak. I mean, we beat the war drums of Russia and China. Do you guys understand that our strategic petroleum reserves is now under $400 million or 400 million barrels? After everything that Joe Biden has done to try to lower the gas prices temporarily, selling off that oil to China, all that. We're running out of missiles and we need to build them because we've been shipping our missiles over to Ukraine. And yet, our president, who doesn't even know where the fuck he is, says things like this.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
It's supposed to lead us in a nuclear war against Russia? Now, y'all sit there and say, oh, Russia's a paper tiger. Are they? Are they really? Because why would you throw your best at something like Ukraine? When you know damn well, as soon as you throw your best out there, NATO's going to get involved. Let's think about this strategically from Russia's point of view. You're trying to put Ukraine into NATO. Now, back during the fall of the Soviet Union, NATO said not another inch eastward. And they've done that. Poland. It's not Finland, but there's another one over there. Yeah, it is Finland. Poland, Finland, Ukraine. Trying to put them into NATO. On the border of Russia. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I put a rocket launcher on the street right outside your house, would you be worried? Yeah, we've broken every single promise that we've ever made for, everything for them. And we've encroached on their territory. So why the hell would Putin use his best in something that really has absolutely no bearing on it, but he knows will push NATO into a conflict, especially with the BRICS nation forming? I mean, you got what is it? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and a lot of others. I think Turkey's involved in that too. There are others that are trying to get involved in that. We're staring down the barrel of World War III. We're staring down the barrel of a nuclear war, and you're going to sit there and tell me that, oh, well, Russia's nuclear missiles may not work because they don't keep up with it. They're using Soviet technology. Why the fuck would I throw my best haymaker at the beginning of a fucking fight that I know is going to take a minute? Why would I gas myself? So all this blowhard shit about Russia being weak, I don't believe it, guys. I seriously don't. Because if you think about it strategically, what would be the point? What would be the point of going all out from the very beginning in a war you know is going to take a long time and get a lot of people involved in? Why would you waste everything from the very beginning when you know you're going to have to go the distance? So don't count Russia out. And don't think for a second that they ain't willing to use nuclear fucking weapons. Oh, they say it's just a deterrent? Is it though? Is it though? Because I don't believe that it is a deterrent. Saudi Arabia and Iran, yeah, they're going into that too. Even if they were a paper tiger, it's not good to underestimate your enemies. Yes. But I don't believe Russia's a paper tiger. I really fucking don't. They've been sitting there building up military for decades now. They've been working on that shit for decades now. And you're going to sit there and tell me, oh, they don't have the funds to do it? Are you fucking kidding me? Every bit of funds that they get in that country goes to the government, which is going to go to military. So they can do things like what they're doing. Y'all have no clue what they do. We have no clue what they do. Because our fucking media lies to us every day. So am I going to sit there and say that Russia's a paper tiger? Until I walk over there and raffle stomp their entire army with one gun? No, I'm not going to believe it. Which, of course, will never fucking happen. But I won't believe it until that happens. So, I'd imagine if it's one big bluff, it's just like having Biden as president to make our great nation appear weak as ever. With them at the helm, we are. Now, let's just be honest. Biden doesn't run shit. The dude doesn't even know where he is. He doesn't. But it is scary as fuck knowing that he is there. Because he can't even say this.
All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
I mean, you know the thing, but does he? Is he running the show? Fuck no. We all know that. But who is then? Because if he's just a facade, if he's just a face, who is going to lead our military? Mike Milley? You know, General Milley, I want to understand white rage. Is he the one that's going to lead our military? Kamala Harris, vice president? Do we need to even go into that? If it's not our president, who the hell's going to lead? Oh, wait. You want to talk about Tommy Tuberville and how he's holding off military promotions? Like the military doesn't function as one cohesive unit. Like I've said before, it's a dumbass argument. But there are people out there who have made that argument against me. You're going to sit there and tell me that all the way down to sergeant level, sometimes even specialist, depending on the unit, depending on the MOS and things like that. You're going to sit there and tell me that command isn't given down all the way to that far, and somehow they can't lead us because there isn't somebody sitting at the very top. Shut up. That's a weak ass argument. So who is it? If Biden ain't doing it, who is it? Because this actually does worry me. This really does, especially seeing as how they have that what is it, that ICBM that splits off into multiple warheads and can strike many targets at once, all guided, laser guided. You think we can defend against that? Maybe. I haven't seen anything to say we haven't, but I also haven't seen anything to say we have. But I don't think we're going to get every single one of them. We will be hit, and we will be hit hard if it comes down to it. And make no mistake, we're going to launch it right back. We'll go scorched earth just because. All because of our brainless fucking president and our fucked up ass government. Are y'all ready for this shit? Because it's coming, and it's coming hard. Yeah, the Satan II missile. Emperor of Winds got it correct. It's the Satan II missile, yes. Let's see. I'd imagine it's one big... Oh, yeah, we already covered that. Precisely, as long as that's how the world sees us, are we really a threat? Yes. Yes, because the world knows who we are. It doesn't matter if Biden's at the helm. The whole world laughs at us because he's supposed to be the president. And the whole world knows that's a fucking lie. The whole world knows our president is a puppet in the first damn place. He's only the face of some shit. Always has been. There are very few presidents who have actually done some things and actually had some kind of mainstay in the world. But it's not the president who runs everything. It's our entire government. It's our three branches. You remove the president, you got the entire other two branches and everybody else in the executive branch to run the show. Things will press on as normal. It's not just our failed president who's going to say weird shit and demand weird shit. And everybody's going to be like, no, this dude's out of his fucking mind. We're doing it this way. So who would make that call? Because that's what fucking worries me. Why have we pushed so hard for this Ukraine shit? Why have we given up so much for Ukraine? It makes no sense. I mean, it literally doesn't. Anything you can throw at me other than the fact that Biden is trying to cover up for his crimes, none of it makes sense. Why are we pushing so hard to defend Ukraine? You want to go off into the biolabs that we have over there, which, by the way, I think is now at a count of roughly around 40 or so. The biolabs we have over there are our pharmaceuticals that we have over there. You want to go ahead and go on to that? Well, guess what? That pharmaceutical goes into other countries that we consider enemies before they're even given to us to be sold on the market. So is it effective? No. And you think that Ukraine having that ability they're going to destroy something like that? No, because that would hurt them too. Let's just be real with it. So why are we defending Ukraine so damn hard to the point we're on the brink of World War III, a nuclear war? And for what? A puppet-ass president that was installed because we were the ones that actually disrupted their government? We're the ones that destabilized that country? Because we didn't like the leader they had? And then you got Hunter Biden over there that with all the Burisma shit, where our president sold out political favors for mere pennies on the fucking dollar? Are we covering that up? I mean, Devin Archer in his own testimony said that he actually started with Burisma the day that Russia invaded Crimea in 2014. And then Hunter came in not too long after that. And the whole thing with Viktor Shokin after that. Is that what we are covering up? Because it's pathetic to take us to war for that. Which, by the way, they do want to talk about how Trump can be taken off the ballot because of the 14th Amendment, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, but it also does say giving aid and comfort to our enemies. That's 90% of our government that does that. So 90% of our government would have to be removed under that clause too. You open that door, let's play ball. I'd also imagine there's a non-existent council that makes the real decisions. Ghost Riders, yes. I mean, we have a fucking war room. You don't think there's people that sit around that table, sit there and make those plans? It's not the president that has the full control over all that. The only question is, will the world end more like Fallout or Metro Universe? If our government has any hand in it, go Fallout style. Scorch fucking earth, man. Turn it all into a glass floor. And let the elites, the better men that sit in these bunkers, work out the details afterwards. Because you and I ain't gonna make it. Let's just be honest. We ain't gonna make it. We'll put up one hell of a fight going out. But we ain't surviving. See, it was Colonel Douglas McGregor that said at the end of the U.S. called World government hired loot of anti-Russian people to destroy Russia. Yep. This is true with the media that directs the attention. They've done a great job at smearing the American people and leading credence to Biden. He may be a puppet, but he's still our president. And that's an issue. That's a very, very big issue. But everybody out there, everything I've seen about it, people talking like this, oh, Russia's a paper tiger. They're not going to do it. It's just posturing, saber rattling. Fuck you. We have done everything since the fall of the Soviet Union. We have done everything against Russia. And what has Russia do to provoke us? Really? What have they done? Other than our own government lying about shit to justify your hatred, or to justify their hatred for Russia. What have they done? Except sit over there and for decades do their own damn thing. As corrupt and fucked up as they are, for decades, go over there and do their own damn thing because they follow their own self-interest. And we are following the interest of NATO, who wants to put us in a one-world fucking government. They want full control over the entire planet. Are we the bad guys? You're fucking right we are. Why should we have control over other countries? Why should we have any say in what other countries do? I mean, that's what's going on. It's crazy to me that people are willing to risk nuclear war. You'll always have those kinds of people. I mean, you got, what is it, Xi Jinping is China's leader. I mean, if it wasn't Russia, China would be saying the same thing. China's already saying the same thing. We've had Chinese warships close to our national waters. Y'all remember the shit that's still going on with Taiwan? I mean, we're headed that way. I don't see an off-ramp to any of this shit. I don't see how any of this gets solved. I don't see how any of this calms down. Because every single move, every single thing they have done is just another step towards it. And everybody wants to hit the gas. Nobody wants to hit the brakes and think about it. And why is my camera fucked up again? I need to get a new one. It's always fuzzy at the wrong times. But yeah. Speaking of our puppet in chief, Joe Biden. Does anybody care about this? I mean, seriously. White House says President Joe Biden will start wearing a mask after First Lady Dr. Joe Biden tested positive for COVID. He will remove his mask when socially distanced from others. He is abiding by CDC guidelines. Watch. Oh, wait, that's right. I muted the whole thing.
And finally, an update on the president and the first lady since she tested positive for COVID-19 last night. I can tell you that the First Lady is experiencing mild symptoms and will remain in Delaware for the week. President Biden tested negative last night for COVID 19 and tested negative again today. He's not experiencing any symptoms. As far as the steps he is taking, since the president was with the First Lady yesterday, he will be masking while indoors and around people in alignment with CDC guidance. And as has been the practice in the past, the president will remove his mask when sufficiently distanced from others indoors and while outside as well. The CDC guidelines recommend a combination of masking, testing, and monitoring for symptoms. The president is doing all of that in close consultation with his physician.
Does anybody really fucking care? I do want to touch on this. I see an off ramp. Nuclear war happens and all the bunkers that hold our government officials get hit. They're built for that shit. I mean, they've been doing renovations on some major bunkers that we have in this country. They're built for that shit. But yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say this to you guys right now. This COVID scare shit. I mean, it ain't it. It's not a thing. You want to talk about how it's more infectious. Well, that's what viruses do. They lean towards being more infectious with every mutation that it does, but they become less deadly. They kill less because if they kill their host, the virus doesn't survive. So it becomes more infectious, but less deadly. Now, of course, with Joe Biden being as old as he is, I don't give a fuck. Take him. Take them all. After everything they've done to this fucking country, you take them all. I don't care. I'm not going to shed a tear over it. Joe Biden? Yeah. But yet, wasn't it Alex Jones who said the mask mandates will return? Because he was talking to a TSA agent who was saying the mask mandates will be coming back. And that was like, what, February of this year or something like that? February, March of this year? And here we are now. Again, Alex Jones was right. Because we're going right back into it. Let's see. But I don't really care about this. Because remember this, ladies and gentlemen.
We know that these vaccines work, right? We know when people say up to date with their vaccine, that works. And so we know
the vaccines work, right? Correct? Oh, wait. Aren't they developing a new one? That they're supposed to be ready by the end of this month?
Who needs to get a booster and when?
So all of us need boosters. So 6 months of age and up, we're going to have boosters by the end of this month, hopefully, and those will protect, we believe, very strongly against these new versions of the virus.
Real quick, if you will, who needs to get a booster and when?
Let me hear it again.
So all of us need boosters. So 6 months of age and up, we're going to have boosters by the end of this month, hopefully, and those will protect, we believe, very strongly against these new versions of the virus.
I'm sorry. 6 months and up? When has COVID ever been deadly to children? When in the history of COVID has it ever been deadly to children? As a matter of fact, the younger somebody is, the less likely they are to actually be affected by it. They may be infected, but the less likely they are to be affected by it. It seems to be the older population, the ones that are out of shape. You know, the Lizzos of the world. It's those people. So you're going to sit there and tell me that our children need to take something that's allegedly been under question about shit. Fuck you, YouTube. I don't care. It's allegedly been under question about shit. And you want to put that in children? Huh. Sterilizing the children with transgender surgeries and shit like that isn't enough for you? Pushing that shit on the kids and parents pushing back isn't enough for you? Okay. So we'll just, under the guise of medical care, just take care of the problem? Camera's fucked up again. I mean, this thing's like 6, 7 years old. I need a new one. Screw it. Whatever. We'll just go back to this so it doesn't look so bad. Or maybe turn that definition. Maybe the definition is a problem. I can flip the definition and it'll be okay. There we go. But yeah, how are we going to do this? I can tell you right now, I'm not going to comply with any of this shit. I didn't comply with the shit last time. The only time I ever wore a mask is when I had to walk into hospitals. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing that shit again. You're not going to force this jab on me again. You remember that Atlantic article that said, let's declare a pandemic amnesty because we said a lot of shit where they called for your death because you weren't vaccinated. They screamed and yelled and attacked you because you wouldn't wear a mask. And we're going to go through all that again simply because fear porn? Are we doing this? Because I'm not going to stand for it. You're not going to get in my face and yell at me because you were told to take a vaccine that wouldn't work unless I got a vaccine. How is that a fucking thing? But here we go again. And the pieces are falling into place here. Lockdowns coming back, mask mandates, vaccine mandates. They're all coming back. Because they have to lock you down. Because if they can't remove if they can't remove a running candidate for presidency from the ballot, ballot harvesting and all that shit, they're going to lock you down just like they did in 2020 and tell you it's all Trump's fault. But how would you play that off this time? Because Trump's not in office. How can you play that off this time? It's all Trump's fault? What? Are you going to come out and say what everybody's been saying about these jabs? And then blame that on Trump? But you forced it on people. You were the ones that said you wouldn't take it while Orange Man was in office. And then once you took office, you forced it on everybody. Are we going down that road? Is that the play with this? Because all of it has been on this current administration. By the way, once Biden took office, y'all remember how the death count was taken off the news? And then they played down the COVID problems. And it took what, about a month or two before it was never talked about again until now. And supposedly there's 3 variants running around out there. In this BA 2.62 or whatever the fuck is supposedly the top of the top now. Like that's the one that's taking over. I mean, I'd be more scared of that fungus that has a 60% kill rate than I am with COVID. I've had it 3 times, probably more. 3 times that I know of, 3 times that I can remember. Probably more. Because the last time I remember, it just felt like a fucking hangover. That's it. Let's see. Alex Jones is right again. Not about health, it's about control. Always has been. Always has been. It's not about control, it's about demons. The demons. They're demons, ladies and gentlemen. COVID scares the government for one and only reason, and that's because they are the group that is at risk the most. Yep. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. I mean, look at Mitch McConnell. The dude froze up twice. Which, by the way, I can't talk about it because we're still on YouTube, but I do have a new Twitter. I was able to actually make a new Twitter account. Actually, let me show you my profile real quick. I guess I should put it on screen. Yeah, it's this one right here. And of course, I put the. You remember when I was telling you that there were over 50 federal informants that were found in January 6th? Yeah, here's the motion for mistrial from Dominic Pizzola that proves that. I put all 11 pages on that. That's actually the pinned thing to my profile here. But this one I want you to pay attention to. Now, if you followed on Rumble, you've heard me talk about it a whole bunch of times. Apparently, the messenger has a quote in there that says, "From the messenger, YouTube, go fuck yourself. Another possibility is a transient ischemic attack, a brief stroke-like episode caused when a brain clot briefly blocks blood flow to the brain." That sounds about right. The dude's a fucking ancient ass fucking. This oak tree looking motherfucker sits there and does this. But I mean, if you've sit there and watched anything on Rumble when we do these kinds of things, I've gone over this several times. And I'll give you a brief little loadout of actually how it fucking happens. But yeah, y'all should go check that out. I have a Twitter again. I get to be a menace on Twitter yet again. Am I going to have to change? Why is my camera so messed up? There we go. I'm going to have to keep switching the the resolution of it. I need a new one. But anyway, I'm not doing this again, ladies and gentlemen. And the technicolor rainbow in between, I don't care. I'm not doing it again. You got a problem with it? Too bad. Show me on the doll where my non-compliance hurts you so I can laugh at you some more. Because this is pathetic. I'm not doing this again. We're not going through this route where you call for my death because I don't want to take a jab. Where you get up in my face and try to assault me because I don't want to wear a mask. That has actually had information come out about it saying it's not good for long-term use. It's not good. But yet, put it on all day. Depending on the things that it can actually do, which, in that report, causes cancer. Good job. But yeah, Trump is to blame for everything. I recently stubbed my toe. All we know is it's his fault. Yeah. And that hurts. It's a thing. I found that funny. But let's get into some more craziness and stupidity. And speaking of Orange Man to be blamed for everything, I gotta hit that button. Bill Maher says Trump is a criminal, but can't seem to explain why. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Y'all gotta hear this.
Goes along with all the woke nonsense because he doesn't want to fight that wing of his party. He can't afford to have a battle on the left.
Yeah.
So
he goes along with all the woke nonsense because he can't afford to have a battle on the left. What?
That's my big issue with him. I know you have others.
Well, my biggest issue is he lies a lot, and he's probably
certainly not more than Trump.
Oh, okay, yeah. He was talking about somebody else. This is how the Trump shit rolls off. Oh my god, this is so dumb.
Oh please, come on, man.
Listen, I think they both lie. I mean, I don't like that more than this guy. Because I want to just, if you want to talk about Trump, we can talk about Trump. But if you just talk about Biden, I don't think comparing him to Trump does anybody any good. You just look at the
situation.
situation.
Does because they're running against each other.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of necessary.
It could if you want to.
It's kind of necessary. Okay, yeah, that's right. He was talking about Biden at the very beginning. But it's necessary because they're running against each other. It's necessary to say Trump's the bigger liar than Biden? Are you fucking kidding me?
You're a lying dog faced pony soldier.
You remember that? You remember that?
I talk about in terms of an election, but you talk about in terms of the guy who's in office right now. Like, why don't I like him? Well, one of the things that I don't like has nothing to do with any of his choices, is that he's mentally compromised. I think there's something wrong. And I think it's clear.
As if the other guy isn't.
Well, okay, he speaks much clearer. He might be crazy. He might be a
he
sociopath.
Is crazy. He's
okay.
crazy and stupid.
Say all those things, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that there's something wrong with Biden. Like
Joe's correct. And here is Bill Maher, who is checked out, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even understand how he's still a fucking thing. I really don't. I don't understand how Bill Maher is still relevant in any situation. I mean, he's trying to cling on to relevancy. I mean, fuck, what was that show? The Politically Incorrect or whatever the fuck it was. Real Time with Bill Maher. That's it. That show still runs. I used to watch that as a kid. And now he's having problems because of the writer's strike. Well, now that I'm older and I realize what the hell's going on, you're having problems with your show because of a writer's strike. So you're going to sit there and tell me that everything you spout off on your show comes from other people? It's not from you. It's not because you're informed. It's not because you're in the know. You have other people writing this for you to say. You're just a talking head like Jimmy Kimmel, like Jimmy Fallon. Like, what's that douchebag's name? The red-haired dude. Whatever the fuck he is. Whoever the fuck he is. I don't care about these people any damn more. The Strike Force 5, ladies and gentlemen, like we needed that shit. The only good thing it did is now we can ignore all 5 of them in one fucking go. Where they sit down for an hour, what is it, an hour a day or an hour a week, and they just talk? Like, that's not gonna... Who cares? The one thing that really happened during the pandemic, one of the good things that actually happened during the pandemic, is we don't give a shit about these celebrities anymore. We're not holding them up. And they're panicking over it because they have no control. So how the hell is Bill Maher, who has everybody write everything from him, still prominent today? I mean, the dude's been wrong about everything, and then he comes out like months later after all the fighting and everything has been done. Months later, he tries to bring it back up again because he's got something to say. Like nobody gives a shit anymore what you got to say. But here we go. Let's continue a bit.
he makes up words. He stumbles through things. It seems like he doesn't know where he is half the time. He's very, very old. That's my
I'll
problem.
lead an effective strategy to mobilize
again,
true international
we're living in a
pressure.
world where perfect is not on the menu. These are the choices we're going to have. This is going to be who's running next time. You're going to have a doddering old man.
Do you definitely think that Biden's going to make it to the 2024 elections? Because I'm
Fuck
not convinced.
no.
Well, who knows? Yeah, he might not, and so might not Trump.
Right. Both of them could die at any minute now.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're like 70, whatever years old, 78 years old.
One is 77, one is 80.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the end of the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're on E.
I mean,
right? I mean, you might make it to town, but you might die on the side of the road.
Now it is possible, but Biden's been on E for a minute. Trump is, as old as he is still spry as shit. He's still out there dancing. People make fun of him dancing like this, but he can still do it. Biden can barely lift a folding chair at the beach. He can barely walk on sand. The dude went to Maui and said the ground is hot after it had burnt. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that because I don't feel like raging the fuck out like that tonight. $700 per household, but yet the equivalent of $2,500 in Ukrainian money to every single person in Ukraine, which comes out to roughly around $68 of our own money. $68 of our own money times 50 million people. But yet $700 per household to the people that were affected is somehow okay. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to rage out. I don't care. Let it go. Let it go. Anyway. But you're going to sit there and tell me that Trump isn't going to last at least 2-3 more years? Biden probably won't make it to the end of this year. If he does, he'll be checking out by the mid of next year. There's no way that motherfucker's gonna last. So all this blowhard bullshit about, oh, he's this old. He's this. Shut up. Just shut the hell up, Bill. You're too damn stupid. You don't follow shit. You can't even Google shit to make sure your writers aren't making you fucking lie to everybody.
Road. You're
there's
on
also blue zones where people live to 100.
They don't look like those guys.
No, they look better.
Yeah, they're thin and active, and
Biden's thin.
That's true.
Trump is not.
But he's thin, like skeletal thin.
Yeah,
like he's thin, like frail. Like where he looks like he's just going to fall down a lot.
I'll give you this point. Trump looks.
He does.
Sounds a lot more hardy, and robust, and healthy. That's true. He's a city roach. He eat the worst things he eats, the stronger he gets. You cannot kill him. No, I
He's
agree.
also the only guy that didn't noticeably age the moment he got into the White House.
We did. We aged when he was in office.
That's
he was
a good
fine.
joke.
You're right. He didn't look like he aged. He always looks the same. But he's a criminal, and he's crazy, and he's stupid. And crazy and stupid are two different things.
When you say crazy, what do you base?
Okay, let me give you an example.
And Biden's not a criminal? I mean, the motherfucker's been corrupted and twisted since he got into fucking office. While he was vice president, he told the Secret Service not to let the FBI or the IRS investigate his kid. Are you fucking kidding me? Here it is a decade later, and we're just now finding out about the shit that he's done. And that's just the tip of the iceberg with it. Oh, the 12 boxes of documents in Mar-a-Lago. This motherfucker had 1,850 from when he was even senator. And you're going to sit there and tell me that Biden is not a criminal? Fuck off along pier. Take a long walk off that short pier too. Because you are the biggest fucking doddering old fool like you think they are. You're the biggest fucking one of them all, Bill. And I had massive fucking respect for you when I was a kid until I learned that you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Because once you came off that screen, you proved to be a Whoopi Goldberg.
Stupid is like Frederick Douglass is alive.
Stupid is like Bill Maher is smart. He knows what he's talking about.
Or the stealth bomber is literally invisible.
Right.
Or nobody knew healthcare was hard to solve. That's just stupid. He's very stupid. Crazy is like, it's important that the crowd at my inauguration was the biggest ever. And I'm going to make an issue of this for the first 2 weeks of my presidency, despite photographic evidence to the contrary. Or I'm going to...
You mean like the photographic evidence to the contrary of how they were trying to say that Australia wasn't in open revolt? But yet our mainstream media said that Australia was complying with their vax mandates. They were complying with the mask mandates. They were complying with COVID camps. Except every video and photographic evidence to prove the contrary. Are you talking about something like that, Bill? Because that's pathetic.
Steal these documents that I don't even know what they are, and I don't care, and I'm going to put them next to the toilet at Mar-a-Lago, and then I'm going to fight you to take them back, or not conceding the election. Those things are crazy. Or
I'm going to fight you to take them back. I don't know what they are, but I'm going to fight you to take them back. First of all, you jackass, the FBI ran up into fucking Mar-a-Lago looking for them documents in February. They took a whole bunch out and left documents there, told Trump to lock them up. Trump looked at them and said, hey, why don't you lock them up so I don't have control over that? The FBI put that lock on that door. And then 7-8 months later, ran up again. Once Hunter Biden said, hey, that laptop, you remember the one that you were told was Russian disinformation? Yeah, that was mine. Oh, wait. We can't have that out in the news. Raid Mar-a-Lago. For the documents that we know are there and are under our control and protection. Are you talking about that, Bill?
Or thinking I can somehow charm Kim Jong-un in Korea, although that might be stupid. Sometimes
the motherfucker walked across the demilitarized zone alone and lived to tell the tale. What came up? What came up out of that? Oh yeah, that's right. Absolutely fucking nothing. Except we didn't have problems with Kim Jong-un. That's the only thing that came out of that. So what are you fucking talking about here, Bill? Oh yeah, that's right. You only know what your writers tell you to write or tell you to say. You only know what your writers put in that teleprompter. Kind of like Joe Biden.
Crosses the line between both. But he's both stupid and crazy, and he's a criminal. You know, he's not being charged in these trials because he's a liar. They purposely didn't do that. Apparently it's okay. It's not illegal to lie to the American people. And of course he did lie and continues to lie. He still hasn't conceded the election, which he plainly lost. He's charged with
You're right, Emperor.
crimes. Criminal intent to obscure I forget what the actual name of the law is, but criminal intent to basically steal the election or to coerce people in the states from
this gets great.
I forget what it is. And then there's one forgery, which has to do with the electors scheme, criminal intent for.
Has to do with the elector scheme. You mean the alternate slate of electors that is used every 4 years just in case a challenge actually fucking works? What do you think they're going to do? If they don't have the alternate slate of electors and a challenge actually succeeds to something, you think they're going to go back to that state and say, hey, we have to put off the presidency again. Y'all need to have your own special election list. Figure out how you're going to vote. because the shit didn't work out the first time. The alternate slate of electors is there for a fucking reason, you retarded asshole, but you're going to go ahead and call them fake electors. Let's listen.
What is the forgery?
That's the slate of electors he was putting forward, the fake slate of electors. And then there was the one.
You're going to sit there and tell me that a dude has been in politics just about as long as I've been alive, has had a political show just about as long as I've been alive, doesn't know that basic information? You're going to sit there and fucking tell me he doesn't know an alternate slate of electors has existed forever? Not forever, but it's been around. What was that Bing? This episode from. But you're going to sit there and tell me that? Okay. You're going to sit there and tell me that you didn't know in 1960 that alternate slate of electors was the last time it was used was in 1960, where Nixon threw away the certified Republican vote or Democratic vote. Why? Because a challenge actually succeeded. You're going to tell me you don't know that, Bill. Why the fuck do you exist? Why the fuck do you have any kind of reach into politics when you were this fucking dumb? And how the hell do you have an audience? Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a lot of stupid people out there that don't know how to look into things. I say it all the time. World's information in the palm of your hands, and you refuse to use it because you'd rather look up at cat videos. It's a better use of your time instead of actually reading official documents and things about how this happened. Or, like I just showed you earlier, how there was an actual document for a motion for mistrial because there were 50 some odd fucking federal informants that were found instigating in January 6th, and Dominic Pizzola and the Proud Boys were charged. 4 out of the 5 were found guilty of seditious conspiracy because the judge told the jury they can't use that information about the instigators in January 6th. Simply because the government never gave up names or connections. It is truly that after 45-year-old, the older you are, the dumber you become. I'm pushing that, man. Don't you put that evil on me. I'll be 38 Monday. Don't you put that evil on me. Shit. You done curse me now. I'm going to get stupid.
Here it is. We can read it. 3 counts of solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. So he's trying to get someone to violate their oath. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit false statements and writing. 2 counts of false statements and writings. Violation of a Georgia RICO Act. Conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. Wonder what that is. Conspiracy to commit filing false documents and filing false documents. Then this is all based on the election results.
Well, there's also felony solicitation of violation of oath. Felony solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. That was when he was talking to Ratzenberger. That's I need you to find me 11,000 votes.
I need you to find me 11,000 votes. Why didn't you finish that off, Bill? Because he's like, hey, there's some shady shit going on here. You need to look into this because there's some shady shit going on here. Do whatever you need to do legally. Do whatever you need to do legally to investigate the shady shit that we all know that happened, because it was Georgia that had that pipe burst incident that they claimed happened. Didn't really happen. They continued to actually count, but they made everybody leave so they could count. Just like, what is it? The Muskegon police in Michigan found over 800,000 illegal voter registrations and 8,000 to 10,000 ballots illegal ballots that were actually issued by these people that were involved in this voter fraud ring. 8 to 10,000 ballots per person involved, with about 15 people involved. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That was more than enough to change Michigan. Or how about the Kerry Lake trial with the voter registrar, the voter, the signature verification, where the judge said, "Hey, I'm going to dismiss this." Arizona Supreme Court said, "No, you've actually got to look into this because there's an actual claim here. There's something to this." And the judge is like, "Okay, fine. You want to win your case? You have to prove that not a single verification was done. If one signature verification was even looked at, you lose your case." Not her argument in any way, shape, or form for that. But that's what the judge said, because he was pissed off at the fact that his dismissal didn't work. But you're going to sit there and tell me 2/3 of the fucking ballots for the signature verification was done in 3 to 5 seconds, and somehow that was done correctly. And go fuck yourself, YouTube. We can talk about it. Even though I do feel like there's some shit about it, I don't care anymore. Let's see. I think it's that our survival instincts take over, making us more susceptible to outside opinions, just as I don't know. They say with age comes wisdom. Well, with wisdom comes the ability to know that you're being lied to. And with wisdom comes the ability to understand where the truth lies. Because here's the fact, especially when you go through all these articles and shit. Read everything you can about a certain situation, because every single article is going to give you a little bit of nugget of truth and a whole spew of fucking lies. So if you read a nugget of truth here, and you read a nugget of truth here, and you read a nugget of truth here, you connect the dots and you have the whole fucking picture. It's easy. You just got to put a little bit of effort into it. But let's continue a little more here.
There's also one. I mean, there's two cases about trying to steal the election. One, the national case that Jack Smith is prosecuting. Then there's the one in Georgia. Now they cross paths in a lot, but basically, I mean, yes, he tried every possible way to steal this election. He tried to do it through the courts. He tried to do it through state legislatures. He tried to do it through intimidating Mike Pence. He tried to do it through the Justice Department. They talked about seizing voting machines.
You mean, howdy, polar bear. You mean, like, Stacey Abrams did? You mean, like Hillary Clinton did? By the way, Hillary Clinton destroyed evidence that was under subpoena, and nothing happened to her. You mean, like George W. Bush did? You mean, like every single candidate in modern fucking history has done? Is that what you're talking about, Bill? Oh, yeah, that's right. You only believe what's on that teleprompter. You don't look into the shit to actually make sure that these motherfuckers are actually telling you the truth. You just believe what's on that teleprompter. Like, if I was the dude behind your teleprompter, I'd probably get you to admit that you're a complete fucking moron, because you just read it and go on. Kind of like the Ron Burgundy thing, you know, where he said, "Go fuck yourself, San Diego." That situation. Wisdom really does come with age, except for some in which it seems dementia comes early, like with Bill. I wouldn't say he doesn't have dementia. He's just one of those useful fucking idiots. Like, he believes everything that he's told. He believes everything he reads on a teleprompter, instead of looking this shit up himself, instead of thinking rationally and critically, instead of thinking, hey, they say this is, bad for our democracy. It's an attack on our democracy. I mean, you use that for every damn thing. So, when has the political party that I represent ever used the same claim? I mean, it's that fucking easy. I hate Republicans. I hate Democrats. I used to be a liberal 10 fucking years ago, and then they went so damn crazy. Somehow now I'm right wing. I hate them all because they all fucking lie. Republicans are worthless assholes, and Democrats are so damn crazy. They're literally trying to drive us into some kind of fascistic, communistic fucking amalgamation of weird ass governments where they have full control over everything. Because the uniparty is a thing. The uniparty does exist. I mean, wasn't it Crystal fucking Matthews that was running for, I think it was North Carolina? Was on the phone with an inmate from a prison that she knew saying that we need to have people run as Republicans as sleeper agents so they just do what the Democratic Party wants. You don't think that's already been a thing for a minute? Fucking Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. Let's see. Kinzinger, Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney. So many others. I mean, all the shit that has come up about this fucking Hunter Biden shit. And Kevin McCarthy is like, hey, let's start talking. Maybe impeachment fucking could happen. Let's start discussing that. Even though we have a mound of fucking evidence. Joe Biden using pseudonyms. Oh, Pedo Pete. You remember that from the Hunter Biden text? Robert L. Peters. Pedo Pete. Or how about the most fucking obvious pseudonym, JRB Ware? JRB, Joseph Robinette Biden. Robin Ware. Robinette. Robin. Fuck, it's so obvious. But yeah, let's just start talking about impeachment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about impeachment so we can remove this dude instead of charging him for fucking treason. I used to be with it until it changed, and now I'm trying to figure out what it is. I was trying to be nice and not call him a useful idiot. I mean, he is. He's always been a useful idiot. He's always been a useful idiot. I used to watch his show. I used to love his show. But then, as I grew up and I realized how much the mainstream media has fucking lied to me, I look at that now and be like, this son of a bitch knows absolutely nothing of what he's talking about. Because every one of his talking points that he's ever had has been wrong. Because it's somebody typing it up on a screen to keep the narrative flowing. With age comes decay. Yes. Yes, with age does come decay. There is going to be a lot of decay. Sorry, the feed is lagging. Is it? I'm okay over here on my side. Yeah, 10% for the big guy. Yeah.
They talked about using the army. I mean, you can't really believe that this guy is not worse than Joe Biden.
They talked about using the army. Oh, you mean those 20,000 National Guard troops that Trump had offered for January 6th because they were getting information about maybe things could go bad. So let's bring in the National Guard just in case. And then Nancy Pelosi and Muriel Bowser said, no, I don't like that idea because of the optics of the situation. But hey, we'll put 5,000 unarmored National Guard on the ready. We'll put them out there. And then when shit goes down, for 71 minutes, I'm going to sit there and make phone calls to people like Kevin McCarthy saying, hey, I hope you're safe. Don't go out there. Hey, where's my food? I need to eat for 71 minutes before she gave the okay and the go ahead to actually send in the National Guard, who didn't do shit until 6 fucking p.m. just to go out there with riot gear and shields and take pictures, drive around for a minute, and go home. Talked about using the army. Or are you talking about how on January 7th, Nancy Pelosi went to the Joint Chiefs of Staff to tell Mark Milley that don't listen to Trump because he's unhinged. If he gives you any kind of order, do not follow it. And Mark Milley, the I want to understand white rage guy, said, if I do that, if I disregard legal, lawful orders, that would be a military coup. After months of her screaming how Trump was going to do it. Is that what you're talking about, Bill?
I mean, I agree. Biden is not a great president. And the Hunter Biden stuff is a stinky conspiracy, not a conspiracy, a stinky scandal that stinks to the high heavens. If you think that that in any way compares to what Trump tried to do, you just cannot tell unlike things apart.
You mean selling out this country's political fucking secrets, the documents that hit the Penn Biden Center, and then a day or two after that, $50 million was sent from China as a donation that nobody can account for. Nobody knows why it happened. A few days after the documents actually hit the Penn Biden Center, they just donate $50 million to the Penn Biden Center. You mean all the Bohai or the Rosemont Seneca Bohai, the BHR partners that his son started was a Chinese CEFC connections, the Chinese energy company with the whole Chinese companies that he started? You're going to sit there and tell me that this motherfucker sold our country for pennies on the fucking dollar and saying, hey, I don't think I really lost this election because some really shady shit went the fuck down. You think those are somehow comparable? Are you fucking kidding me? Is your retarded brain gone to mush? Are you Joe Biden incarnate? Because you have to be retarded to believe the shit that you believe.
And you're saying this just based on what happened after the election? Just that stuff?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
that's the criminal part. Yes.
Have you ever tried to steel man his position? Like, do you think he really believes they stole the election, or do you think he's bullshitting?
Who gives a fuck? It doesn't
Who
matter.
gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck if he really believes it?
The whole fucking case in Georgia hinges on that. You're going to have to prove that he doesn't believe it, Bill. How can you be this dumb? How can you be this fucking dumb? They have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that that fat orange fuck actually believed that he didn't win. And all this hinges on something that I'm about to show you here in a second. But let's go ahead and finish this up because we ain't got much longer on this.
But I mean, if he really believes there's evidence that the election was rigged.
No, I don't care. No, first of all, that was part of the January 6th committee's findings. He has multiple people, all the people around him told him that he lost that election, including Bill Barr, you know, and he admitted
Bill Barr, you mean the motherfucker that actually said there was widespread fraud, but not enough to change the outcome of the election?
One of his quotes was that they have on record of him saying, I don't want people to know I lost this election.
Oh, we're done with that. Because he said it. What he's talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Back on 10/13 of 2022, Trump said he didn't want Americans to know we lost. Cassidy Hutchinson. Cassidy Hutchinson, a former aide of the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, testified that Donald Trump said he didn't want Americans to know that he lost the 2020 election and that he urged Meadows to figure it out to prevent the results from embarrassing him. In a video played during the Thursday's public hearing held by the House committee investigating the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, Hutchinson said that at one point she asked Meadows, "Does the president really think that he lost?" Meadows replied that Trump had told him a lot of the time that he knows he lost the election, but that he wants to keep fighting. Trump knows it's over. He knows he lost, but we're going to keep trying. There are some good opinions out there still. This is what he's referring to. But ladies and gentlemen, this was also the woman who sat there and said that this fat orange fuck somehow did ninja flips through the limo that he was in, jumped through a little protective window to put one hand on dude's neck, the other hand somehow on a wheel like this, or maybe like this, which is even fucking worse, because the dude wouldn't drive him to the Capitol. You remember that story? By the way, all of that story was told from somebody who heard it from somebody else that the driver told that person. And then there's this. Secret Service informs committee that agents are willing to testify and dispute the SUV incident. A Secret Service official familiar with the matter told CNN that Tony Ornato, then White House Deputy Chief of Staff, denies telling Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson that the former president grabbed the steering wheel or an agent on his detail. The Secret Service, though the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Legislative Affairs, notified the committee Tuesday afternoon that they will make the agents involved available to testify under oath, officials said. The agents are also prepared to say under oath that the incident itself did not occur. So the agent that she said told her that supposedly Tony Ornato himself told that agent, both said it's not true. Guess what didn't happen in the January 6th committee? They weren't allowed to testify. Then there's this. TMZ finally explained why Joe Jonas and Sophie... This is not it. Why the hell is this here? Oh, because I'm at the bottom of the article. Okay. Cassidy Hutchinson says she initially lied to the January 6th committee about a claim that Trump grabbed the steering wheel of his SUV and lunged at the Secret Service agent. Cassidy Hutchinson, a former aide of the Trump administration and key witness in the House Select Committee hearings in January 6, 2021, Capitol attack, said she initially lied to the panel in a deposition about whether she'd heard President Donald Trump lunged at a Secret Service agent in the presidential SUV on that day of the riot. In her newly released depositions, Hutchinson says she was coerced by Stefan Pazantino, her Trump-aligned attorney, to mislead it on how much information she knew. The committee doesn't know what you can and can't recall, so we want to be able to use that as much as we can, unless you really, really remember something very clearly, Hutchinson said. Pazantino told her. So you're going to sit there and fucking tell me that a woman who lied about this incident was told by somebody who was told by somebody else that clavicle girl said Donald Trump jumped through a small ass fucking window ninja style and grabbed a Secret Service agent's neck, lied about the entire thing, and she was coerced to do so by a Trump-aligned attorney? Huh? None of that makes any fucking sense. But according to this fucker, it's all true. Bill has forgotten many things. Number one, innocent until proven guilty. Correct. America is a constitutional republic. Correct. And if you believe the government, then I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. Correct. I mean, what is it? The most dangerous words ever spoken is the government's here to help you. But let's finish up what this asshole's got to say before we move on.
That's kind of crazy.
Well, he's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
I mean, it's insane that you can't let go of the idea that you can't be seen as a loser. There's a certain, I always said this in the beginning. It all comes back to he is a clinical case of malignant narcissism. It's not just a quirk. It's actually in the big book of crazy, you know, that.
Right.
I mean, it's a real thing. And it affects everything he thinks and does. It's why foreign leaders were able to curry favor with him. All they had to do was kiss his ass and they got whatever they wanted. Do I really think that he wants to help Russia and Putin? I think Putin had him as soon as he said, Trump is a brilliant man. Good. You got me. It doesn't take that much. He's a dangerous guy. The idea that he could be president again, as opposed to Joe Biden. Again, Joe Biden, not my first choice, not my 100th choice, but the other guy is a crazy
fool, or whatever the fuck he says. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next topics we're going to have to talk about here. The next topics we're going to talk about here is definitely not going to be safe for YouTube. So we're going to hit Rumble only, and I will leave Twitch up. Because fuck Twitch, I don't care about Twitch. I will leave Twitch up. We are going to head to a Rumble only section. Because, apparently I need to change the settings on my camera again. Give me a second. We're going to be talking about this. And we'll be talking about this. So, I will hand you this. That is the Rumble link that I have put in the chat there for everybody on YouTube. Everybody that will see this later on. All of you out there, come over to Rumble. We're going to have some fun. And we will see y'all there. The fuck is it, Brand? Yeah, that's it. I haven't used this shit in a minute. All right, here we go. I will cut the feed as soon as we get the chance. Or not the feed, but I'll cut this countdown as soon as we get the chance. Ladies and gentlemen, the mainstream narrative has become cancerous to society. Currently, there is no known cure, but doses of other treatments